Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated economist here. So, thought I'd bring you a shot next to the river, not from the car this time. So, I had a few people ask me to do a video about the plunge protection team, kind of explaining it in layman's terms. And if you're not familiar, so I thought I'd do that for you today. So, and I also wanted to thank you, Miss Darnita, for asking me to do this video. So, this is a little shout out for you. Appreciate it. And so I guess it kind of helps to understand the plunge protection team. We should probably start back in the 80s where they came about, right? And so basically what happened is during the Reagan administration, there was a huge stock market sell-off. And it was like to the tune of like 20% in the course of like an hour. And it just freaked everybody out. And they came up with this idea. It was just like, okay, so we need a team of people who can interject money into the market in case something like this happens again, because this 20% in an hour it wiped out so many people. It just devastated them, right? And so what they did is the Treasury, the Federal Reserve, the Security and Exchange Commissions, and the Commodity Future Trading Commission each had a member to be in the group, right, into the plunge protection group. And so what these guys do, I guess it helps to know what these guys do is to kind of understand how the exchanges work, right? So in an exchange, you have the traders, right? These are the guys, the traders and brokers. These are the guys who buy and sell. And then you have what are called market makers, right? And what market makers do is they kind of help facilitate the trades between the brokers to make sure that it runs more fluidly. So they're the ones who are adding liquidity to one side of the market or the other in order to make sure that things happen within the markets, that they don't get hung up like a trader waiting for a sell order to take place. Market makers make the orders happen, right? So these guys are just adding liquidity to one side or the other. They're not really like market movers, right? As far as like changing the prices, they're just really there to kind of facilitate the trades, to make sure that they happen fluidly. And occasionally these guys run out of liquidity or run low on liquidity, and they kind of come in some issues where they need funding and money to make sure that the markets move properly. And so what ends up happening is that they have another group that's called the supplement liquidity providers, right? And what these guys do is they make sure that the market makers have plenty of liquidity for the traders to do their trades without any hiccups. And so what ends up happening is that a lot of traders will put in what's called stop loss orders, right? And so if the market achieves a certain level of downward motion, then they sell everything they got so they don't have any more losses, right? And that's called a stop loss order. So, the price of the stock comes down, they're like, oops, I'm panicking, I don't want to lose any more money, dump everything I got. And that's the stop loss order. Well, everything is done in computer algorithms now, right? So there's not actually traders out there. Well, there probably is some, but there's not like a whole lot of traders. Everything is done in computers. So they put computer entries in, and then these computer entries is what's running the stock market. And what ends up happening is that these computer algorithms end up triggering some of these stop losses, right? They're like, as the market's moving, and they end up throwing a buy order down in there that's down near these stop loss orders, and it triggers the stop loss order because they think that this is where the market's moving to. And so all of a sudden stop loss orders start kicking in, and those trigger more stop loss orders, which trigger in more stop loss orders, and then pretty soon you have what's referred to as a flash crash. Right? And that's where the plunge protection team is supposed to step in there and inject money and start buying stocks to stem the tide, right? To keep it from falling any further due to these algorithms that are triggering the stop loss orders. Okay, so you got the traders. You got the market makers, right? They're the ones who are helping the traders. You got the supplement liquidity providers, and they're adding liquidity into the market makers to make sure everything's going good. Now, when they have an issue and all of a sudden they have this run and the stocks are dropping like crazy, that's when the plunge protection team comes in there and stops it. Okay? Makes sense now, that when you have like these flash crashes where these algorithms are kicking in these orders, and all of a sudden you're losing the Dow is sinking. That's where the plunge protection team is coming in and saying, hey, we need to stop this from happening. So the plunge protection team can't themselves just jump into the market and buy stocks. So they have to run it through banks. So that's where the Goldman Sachs and the JP Morgans, that's where the plunge protection team kind of teams up with these guys, right? So yesterday when we had Mnuchin come out there and he said, hey, banks are cool, everybody's got plenty of liquidity, we're going to be loaning money just fine. that was them reassuring that the plunge protection team is in place and ready to play the game. Right? So that's basically the plunge protection team in the simplest of forms. It's like money, liquidity added to the big banks to buy stocks during economic runs. Okay? I hope that helps. Thank you very much, Uneducated Economist. Talk to you guys later.